Hello folks, I'm going to talk to you about the most important thing that you need, the one most important thing that you need to be able to successfully present the concept and to make sure that you work with as minimum revisions as possible as a designer, as a creative professional. Okay? Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Relab Live. On this episode, I'm going to talk to you about a question that's been asked by someone else to me very recently, and it's quite simple. It's just about how do you ensure that your concepts get approved at a certain milestone or at a certain stage of a design process. So to me, there's a lot of elements that leads to the answer of this question, but I think there's only one very important thing, which I'll talk to you about right now, and that is to have a sense of vision to what the project needs to be. And how do you get that? So it comes down to the very first time you interact with this particular client or customer, to be able to document and have in the back of your mind pretty much all the time throughout the course of the project of what success looks like. Let me explain a little bit more. To be able to picture that situation on what success looks like to this particular customer or the stakeholders of this business who has hired you, then it's very important for you to have an empathy to what the clients need. Obviously, it can be difficult to picture yourself in their situation because they might be, I don't know, an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or any type of other type of profession that is not necessarily a designer. So you may not understand exactly how they think and how they operate or what their business is all about even. But the best that you can do is really to ask questions and ask the right questions as well. And this is where you establish the trust. And this is where, as a matter of fact, from the very beginning of the project and that initial discussions, you'd be able to tell whether they're the right customers for you or not. And they can tell whether you're the right service provider for them or not. And once you've established all of that, then it's really an open discussion because it has to be a collaborative process. You need to keep them involved in your process, and they need to be open to you about how they operate and what their business is all about. Only then, once you have that, then I think you have a better chance to picture what success needs to look like for them as a collaborative effort with them, I guess, with the clients themselves as well. And once you have this understanding of what the business needs to be or needs to have that is relevant to what you're doing for the business, whether it's a branding piece, whether it's a logo design, or whether it's a publication design or a website design, whatever it is, then I think throughout the process, if you always come back to that notion of this is what it needs to be, that everyone agreed on from the very beginning, and that you truly and genuinely understand about it, then I think you have a better chance to come up with design concepts that represents that. Obviously, there are things that are subjective from a design point of view or an aesthetic point of view, and that's why you come up with a series of concepts, right? So whether it's just 2 concepts that is quite different from one to another, or 3 that is quite different to one another, that each of them represents its own characteristics, that's what you present to the client. But keeping in mind that the bigger picture stays the same, it's just different styling or just different mood or just different characters really to what each of the concepts represent. So, but what that means as well, when you have that good variety, the clients will be able to tell, based on their subjective opinion, they'll be able to select whichever one appeals to them better from an aesthetic point of view. But then the single message that was that was established from the very beginning of the conversation is still there, and it's still intact to whatever you do moving forward. So if you always keep that in the back of your mind and make sure that everyone involved in the project, your team members, the clients themselves as well, or other third-party suppliers, or everyone who's involved in it, if everyone has the same aligned vision to what the project needs to be for it to be successful, then I think you've got a good chance to be able to move forward smoothly without having too many issues. The problem with a lot of designers or creatives is that you're so focused into, I shouldn't say you, because I'm a creative as well, so we are all so focused into our own world, into our own taste, into our own perspective, that it makes such a big difference when you shift that around and start to think from a client's perspective itself, or the business's perspective. Because remember, we're doing this for the business as well as the art as well, but you need to find the right balance. And like it or not, if you're trying to sell your services and your artworks, then obviously you got to think about the business side of things as well, or the people who are trying to buy your art. And that's why it is so important for you to have that level of empathy, to be able to think from the other side of the table, okay? I'll leave it there, and hopefully that's good for you and it's helpful in whatever you do. Feel free to message me or email me if you have any other questions. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video if you like it. All right, thanks guys.